Cool digs you got here. I like it.
Thanks, man.
Yes.
So where are you from?
Originally?
Yeah.
I'm originally from Montreal, Canada.
Nice.
But I've lived all over. I lived in Arizona. I've lived in New York, a place called Halifax, Nova Scotia.
Oh, okay. I got a buddy, Sean Thomas. He's originally from Nova Scotia, actually.
You know Sean?
Yeah, you know Sean too?
No, I don't know.
Oh. When did you realize you first wanted to get into film?
We're recording?
We're recording it.
Okay, cool. I can hold it too if you want.
Sure.
Is it will it pick up the
yeah, it should. I mean, you can hold it if it's easier for you.
Okay, I mean, if it'll pick it up, I'm fine.
Okay.
I guess I always wanted to get into film when I was a kid. Mm-hmm. But when I first decided to pursue film, I was getting off of a shoulder injury. I was going to school in Arizona, and I just kind of spent a couple weeks on painkillers, thinking about life, thinking about what I want to do with my life, and realized I want to make movies.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Gotcha. What was the epiphany that came to you while you were on painkillers?
It wasn't really. It was like an epiphany where I was going to school for business,
mm-hmm.
and it was a thought where I said, if I wasn't going to do business, what would I want to do with my life? Mm-hmm. And I thought, what were some of my passions when I was a kid? And I said, you know what? I always loved movies. Mm-hmm. Maybe I'll make movies.
Nice.
And then I decided to go to film school.
Nice. And you went to film school at New York Film Academy?
In New York, yeah.
Nice. What was that experience like?
It was great. It was great. Yeah, I dug it. They put a camera in your hand the first day you're in school. They give you a camera. They're like, here, go make a little short film, and it was a great experience for me.
Mm-hmm. Now, while you were at New York Film Academy, was you made Batter Up there?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, I made Batter Up there.
Okay.
It's cool.
Who were some of your favorite professors while there?
You know what? I had this. They give you like a lead professor that kind of guides you through the whole process. Mm-hmm. And I had this guy, Billy, mm-hmm. who was he was kind of like an out-of-the-box type of teacher. He wasn't very formal. Mm-hmm. He kind of, if you wanted to sleep in the corner, you can go sleep in the corner. If you wanted to listen to him, you can listen to him. He didn't really, he wasn't strict, or he wasn't, he had what he had to say. Sometimes you liked it, sometimes you didn't like it. Mm-hmm. He had a lot of critique in him. Mm-hmm. But I really enjoyed his teaching process for me, mm-hmm. because I like that. I'm a no rules type of guy. I like, I like that attitude in regards to being taught, because there was some days where I would say, you know what, I'm gonna go sleep in the hallway because I'm exhausted, because we were filming all night and I don't really want to listen to you. And there's other times where I'd be rearing to go and ready to listen. So it was a great teaching style for me. Mm-hmm. And I'll never forget I made several short films when I was in school. Batter Up was like kind of my graduation film. Mm-hmm. But I'll never forget, he was very, very hard on my early short films, which helped me in a lot of ways. Like it's no good if you make a film and it sucks and somebody's like, oh, that's great, that's incredible. It's important, it's important for the learning process continually for people to say that sucks, that that's not good, so that you can improve, because mm-hmm. you're not a genius off the bat, and even when you're making big giant studio movies, there's always something wrong with it. So it's always a good I think critique is a good thing.
Okay.
Yeah.
And as you were going through Billy's classes and through New York Film Academy, did you know what kind of track you want to move along? Were you always interested in director, writer, or moving a certain direction?
I was always set on directing movies. Mm-hmm. Producing kind of came naturally to me, mm-hmm. just because it's the art of cutting deals and making things work, and if shit happens, figuring it out, which is something I've always been able to do. So, but directing overall, just because I like the idea of molding a vision from start to finish, and just kind of having the overall creative say on certain things, and just being able to play with what's around you. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. What were some of the big things you learned from a producing standpoint in going through NIFA?
From a producing standpoint, through going through NIFA, I would say I learned how to deal with people and entertainment in general, such as, actors, other producers, hunting for locations, contracts, the process of editing, and just a whole different array of certain things, I would say.
And then after you when did you get out of NIFA?
2009.
2009.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you've moved pretty quickly, because I've seen your website and it's really impressive.
Yeah, I have this mentality of just hitting it. You know what I mean? Just because I can't. Also, I think maybe what might have jump-started my expansion of work over a short period of time is I was in a car accident when I first got out here. 4 months I was out here. Oh. And I remember I was 22 years old. And I remember laying up in the hospital bed. I got slammed at like 70 miles an hour from behind on the 101.
Holy shit.
And I remember laying up in the hospital bed thinking, oh man, here I am, 22 years old, now I'm going to have back trouble for the rest of my life. And at the time, I was going through, a bunch of different script revisions with, a friend of mine, and, script revisions on another script, a feature-length version of Batter Up. And I thought, once I got recovered, I figured, you know what, the time is now, because tomorrow is promised to no one. You never know when you're gonna wake up and croak or something like that.
Oh wow!
Yeah.
So cool. So then, how long were you in the hospital for?
Not long, but I was injured for a while. I was, I had to go through physical therapy, and I really figured for a while my neck was cranked sideways, and I was walking around like Frankenstein, So it was, but I guess I've always been the type to just, especially because, a part of it is that you have to prove. Part of my visa scenario was I had to prove a certain amount of work behind me, to stay in the United States. So that was one thing as well.
Now that's part of the artist visa?
That's part of the artist visa, yeah.
Gotcha.
It's called a 01 artist visa.
Gotcha,
yeah,
okay. So. And I have a couple of friends who have gotten that artist visa.
Okay,
and it's really complicated.
It is. It's very complicated to get. It's mountains of paperwork and lots of money that that you don't want to spend, and just a waiting game. Yeah.
So let me ask you then. You've got the burden of the 01 visa on your back. You're in physical therapy for months. What do you do then? You've got this back injury. How do you decide to proceed?
I realized that I was going to run into a little bit of money from the accident. And at the time, prior to the accident, the whole thought process behind making a film was, okay, yeah, let's shop it around and try and raise some money. But once I realized I was going to have some money behind me, I looked to my friend who was writing the screenplay, and he ran into a little money from like a photo shoot. And I said, you know what? Why don't I take the money that I'm going to get, you take the money that you just got. Let's make this thing on a no budget, I read Robert Rodriguez's Rebel Without a Crew. I could do the same shit. I just got off making a short film. I can make, and I remember thinking when I made that short film that I could have easily made the feature. A lot of people said, they were like, "Oh, I wish you would. I wish the film would have been longer. It was 13 minutes, right?" But I remember thinking, if I would have spent another 6-7 days shooting that movie, I could have made a feature film.
Yeah.
But that wasn't the requirements in regards to what I was supposed to do.
For NIFA.
Yeah. So I just figured, and I liked the screenplay, I liked the concept, and so I figured, let's make it, let's do it, and that's what we did. We just put our money together and we did it.
You did Batter Up the feature?
No. We did what's called The Broken Code. It was originally Hacienda, but I made that with a friend of mine, Michael Gigenti.
Okay, and you did that in 2009 or 2010?
2010, but it took. That, again, is another story, because through the process of making that film, we had another almost life-death experience, flipping a speedboat going 80 miles an hour. My buddy was in the hospital for 7 days, surgery on his lung. Insane. We lost footage.
This wasn't, you flipped the speedboat in the process of making
the movie. We were on the boat making the movie, shooting a scene on this double-engine speedboat.
Oh my god!
Flying down the harbor in New York, and lost control. The speedboat went in the sky. We should have died, to be honest, but. We lived, which again gave me a new lease on life, where I was like, wow, what's next? A plane crash or something? Yeah. And and then when my buddy recovered, we finished making the movie, and then we raised a little bit of money to finish the scenes that we lost, because we lost like 25% in the water. We had hard drives and computers with us and cameras, and it was a mess. Okay. So we started in 2010. We finished and got it distributed formally in 2013.
Okay.
So it took us almost 2 years to finish, and then another year for distribution. Yeah.
Which is not uncommon for independent films.
No, not at all. Yeah.
No. So,
but we were on track. Originally, we were on track. It was going to take us 6 months, because as we were shooting it, I was cutting it. And because I had decided that I'm not going to work and we're just going to make the movie, it was just full-time movie making, with us funding it. So I would shoot during the day, and then at night I would cut the scene that we shot, and then the next day we would shoot, and I would cut it, shoot and cut it. Yeah. So it was so like the movie was going to be shot and finished within 6 month period, and then it turned into this 2-year ordeal for us, which obviously there's setbacks, and obviously
did the boat accident have a major part to do with the other setbacks?
Yeah.
How did that affect the rest of the production?
Well, it put us at an immediate halt for 3 to 4 months while my buddy was recovering from his injury, because he was very badly injured. And then from just a overall production standpoint, like, there went my computer, there went our hard drives, there went our footage, there went our camera that was rented from another guy who was suing me for the value, and there was a whole slew of things that had happened from it, but there were good things as well, We ended up running one of the earliest Kickstarter campaigns, and a bunch of people came out of the woodworks in regards to support, and I think overall it benefited the film, because we, something that we may have shot prior to the accident, having to do it again, I took a stance. I said, you know what, okay, it sucks, we lost it, right? But if we're going to do it again, let's make it 10 times better. It's like, let that be considered the practice scene or some shit. There's always, like I said, there's always something that you can improve on. So instead of taking it as a stance, all right, let's just redo it. Let's think outside the box. Okay, what could have made that better? And now let's make it better. Okay. And as an example, one scene we did for a funeral scene, we originally had like 30 extras come out, right? Which I thought was great. And it was like a ceremony, you know, and we got this church. We told them we were student filmmakers and they let us use it for free, right? And I thought, hey, this is great, man. We got 30 people to come out. Didn't have to pay them, nothing. We got the scene done. It looked great.
Nice.
What more can you ask for? But then I thought, all right, we got to do it again. Let's try and get 300 people to come out. Let's do a big entendre, and that's exactly what we did. So it obviously, from a production standpoint, that helps immensely, and just overall, certain things like that. Just
Now, from a logistical standpoint, what would you have done from a producing, arena that you now? What would you have done then
differently? One thing, huge thing.
Yeah.
It's called production insurance. With production insurance, everything would have been covered.
Yeah.
Our equipment would have been covered. My friend's boat would have been covered. My friend's hospital's expenses would have been covered. All these headaches would have been completely covered with production insurance, but because I was making a super, super, super indie film, I was like, fucking production insurance. I don't need it, So that's probably the biggest thing I would have done. One of the second biggest things is I would have bought Pelican cases for all of our equipment to make sure that it was stored properly, because with Pelican cases it wouldn't have been, even if we flipped it and it went in the water, it would have been saved. It would have been, dry free, and they would have got the Pelican cases from the water and would have been able to open it. So that's what I would have done.
So then it takes 2-3 years to finish Broken Code, and then in that time, are you also doing corporate gigs?
I am, yeah.
Are you bi-coastal?
No.
Okay.
I live here full time.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay.
A man got to work. A man got to make some money.
Exactly.
So I sourced some work, and I ended up kind of tumbleweeding, into more work, where you meet another guy, and you find yourself, doing this job, that job, this job, and then, I did a bunch of commercial type work in between, just to kind of keep my head over water, because once the money runs out, it's out, it's gone. You got to make some money.
So let me ask you, in terms of building your portfolio as a commercial and corporate producer and director, you say you got a lot of these from referrals and friends. What are some of the best strategies you found?
I want to say the best strategies to getting work is busting your ass on every job you do, no matter what it is. There's two things. You never turn a job down, because you could always say afterwards, I got a philosophy. You always say yes to a job first, and then you could always say, I don't want the job. But if you say no right off the bat, then you close the door right away.
Right.
Even if for some, it's better to analyze the job first. And then second of all, if you're going to do a job, regardless of whatever it is, do it to the best of your abilities. And just because you're in one position doesn't mean that you can't help in other positions while doing it, and takes notice, and do it with all aspects of professionalism in every which way, from appearance to personality to to just being friendly in certain things, which I think helps, because people want to work with other people who they know will show up on time, who will have the right presence, who will do the right job, who will perform properly, and so that's my advice in regards to that.
I mean, it comes down to what Conan O'Brien said on this last episode of The Tonight Show: be kind and do good work.
Do good work, and people will take notice. That's right.
So what's been the biggest corporate or commercial gig that you or directed and produced?
that I've produced most recently was a big corporate campaign for First Entertainment Credit Union, which was kind of a whirlwind of setups. It was a big photo shoot, and it involved like 12 or 14 different setups of different scenarios of people within the entertainment business that had to be prepped within 4 days. So it definitely put me to the test real quick, but I like that. I like pressure. I like certain things like that.
Okay.
Yeah.
So kind of, if you could walk me through the process of that. Like you hear about this First Entertainment Credit Union gig, and then do you have to place a bid, or is it purely a referral?
You know what I ended up doing, because I felt like it was a big gig, right? And I knew I could kill it. I knew that's my nature, is throwing stuff together last minute, but making it look like crack. So and I knew that the company that was financing it wasn't sure about my abilities, just because I'm not really a corporate guy. I've done some corporate type stuff, but their level of prestige was a little bit higher in regards, like I'm an indie film. I consider myself more indie filmmaker, not a corporate producer. So I pretty much decided, I was like, you know what? The only way, sure, I got a few things under my belt, but the only way for me to secure this is for me to get on the phone and pitch the hell out of these guys.
You can say fuck, it's the internet.
Oh, okay, cool. Pitch the fuck out of these guys. And that's exactly what I did. Got on the phone and I just basically told them, I said, look, whatever you need and however you need it, I am your guy. Forget anybody else in town. I will take care of whatever you need and whatever you need, however you need it, no matter what. And I'll be there. And that's exactly what I did. And I went above and beyond what their expectations were, and it worked out. And I've been working with them. I worked with them most recently again, and then, I got to go away for this documentary I'm doing. But as soon as I get back, there's another job lined up with them, which is good, and I'm sure there'll be more work down the pipeline. So it's it all kind of works out.
Nice.
Yeah.
And the documentary is Escaping the Holocaust?
The documentary is Escaping the Holocaust.
All right. My mother's side of the family is Jewish. My great aunt Monsi actually did survive the camps. Nice. I'm very interested in hearing, how did you come upon this?
Well, it's my grandfather's true story, and I grew up hearing it, the escape story, and it was a story that I always had planned to make as a filmmaker. As a filmmaker, you sit there and you say, okay, I want to do this. Like, I got a list at home. I got about 10 movies that I wrote down. I was like, all right, I want this one, this one, this one, this one, this one, and I put it behind like a picture frame, and I was like, 10 years, I'm gonna flip it over, and for sure I'm gonna have all these done. And one of them in particular was this escape movie, but that was the last one on my list, because I said, it's a big budget, $30 million epic, whatever, I'll have to do it later on in my career, right? So I decided at one point, you know what? I should go. My grandfather's getting old. I know the story, but I don't know it really well. I remember from when I was a kid and hearing him speak about it. But I'm gonna go see him and get him on camera talking about his story. So I had all my camera equipment. I was in Puerto Rico for another job type thing, so I figured, it'd be easy jump, on my way back to LA. And I was sitting with him, having breakfast with him and my grandmother, who's not my real grandmother, but pretty much my real grandmother. My real grandmother died when I was 1, so for the most part, that's my real grandmother. And I'm talking to him at the table, and I was saying, it was like a preliminary interview. Like, I wanted to just ask a few things. And then at one point, my grandmother said, she was up in the kitchen area, she said, oh yeah, well, it wasn't until so-and-so found me at the train station when I knew he was alive. And I turned, I was I was like confused because I had thought that they met in Toronto, Canada. So I was like, wait a second. I was like, you knew him when he was in Poland? And she was like, of course. I said, what do you mean, of course? She was like, I was also in the camps. I was like, wait a second. I was like, you knew him from the camps? And she was like, yeah, of course. She's like, that's where I met him. And I was like, wait a second. And that's when I realized, because, okay, one thing is an escape story, right? Incredible story on its own. But then I sat there at their kitchen table and I unraveled this love story of, we met in the camps. I escaped. He escaped from the camps, only to think she died. To find out that she lived 1 year later. To finding her again, spending 3 days together, deciding they're going to get married or be together. Him taking off to make some money, getting injured, finding himself in a hospital for 3 months. Finally getting out, coming back to her home to find out that she's been married off to another guy at this point. To lose her for 30 years, to marry another woman, have kids, move to Israel, move to Montreal, Canada, for his wife to die, only to find her again after her husband had died, for them to be together, and they've been together past 25 years and they're still alive to tell the story. I was like, wow, it blew my mind. And I was sitting there and I realized I am, as a filmmaker and a storyteller, as a profession, now I'm sitting on gold where I'm not waiting 10, 15 years to do this story. I don't care how it is. I'm going to find a way to do this story because this story needs to be told. And it's the right way for it to be told in a documentary because this is a true love story at the end of the day where they're both alive to tell the story, which is incredible.
Oh my
God. So that was my discovery in regards to the project. Like I said, originally I set out just to get it on film of him telling his story about the escape. Particulars. How did you eat? How did you sleep? How did you dig? Well, like certain things, so that when I went to go make the narrative that I would know, like specifics, like what was going through your mind, certain things. And but wow, I stumbled upon, what nobody had truly known about, and it was unspoken because they don't see it as a big deal. They just see it as that's life, But to me, and also the world, I think, it's a beautiful, incredible story. And you hear about all these horror stories from the Holocaust and certain things. And I think this story in general sheds light on, love and fate and destiny and that, sure, that love can prevail over anything, even something as disgusting as the Holocaust and hell in general, that sometimes if you're meant to be, you're meant to be. Yeah. So it was one of those things. Yeah.
Oh my God, that's an amazing story.
Yeah, incredible.
Wait, okay, so what are you doing with it now? This is amazing.
Oh, okay, so now I am doing what I consider a documentary narrative, which is, I feel as if that I'm definitely breaking the mold of a traditional documentary, because I'm not a really documentary guy. I'm more of a film guy, and so I'm right now I'm pretty much filming the movie in a narrative way that's stylized by black and white imagery and musically driven, along with Max telling his side of the story.
Max
being my grandfather. Rena telling her side of the story, being my grandmother. And another gentleman that I was able to find miraculously, who my grandfather thought was dead, and I was just trying to source some photographs of because he dug this tunnel with two other guys in a prison, and I was like, all right, well, let me find these two other guys. He's like, I'm 93 years old. Do you think anybody else is alive? He's like, one of the last guys who was alive just died, and I was in Israel, and I had heard that that's where the guy was, so I figured I would source to his family and see if I can get, some photos of him when he was younger or something to implement somehow. Found out that the guy's still alive. connected with the guy, got an interview with him in regards to the whole story. So he's another gentleman in you know, where you hear his, you know, his side of the story type thing. And it all plays through in, like I said, you know, stylistic narrative scenes that currently right now play out as whole with pieces of audio filtering through. Yeah, so
that's amazing. Have you contacted anyone like the Israeli government or grant companies to help finance?
I'm trying to get a grant right now, to be honest. But I don't know. You know, when I first set out, I tried to get a grant, and I don't know what happened with the company, but at first they were all about it, and then they kind of just disappeared. They told me to send some paperwork. I sent the paperwork, followed up like 3 or 4 times, phone calls, emails, and at one point I figured I'd just give up. Right. And then most recently, I've been working with a producer friend of mine to try and see about some type of like, you know, Spielberg has a foundation called the Shoah Foundation, and to see if they might be interested in making some type of donation towards the project. And I believe we're in the running for it, but I never like to get excited over stuff like that because you never know how it's going to play out.
Of course,
yeah.
Of course. Now let me ask you, just purely from a producing perspective, if the Shoah Foundation didn't come and make a donation, do you think it would still be valuable to you if Steven Spielberg lent his name as executive producer?
100%. Yeah, I would take his name over money any day. If he told me, I'll give you $100,000, or I'll give you my name to put on the project, I take the name. Forget the $100,000, because the name would be gold. The name would allow me, number one, probably to source funding, or it would just, you know, it would allow for an assortment of things. It's like,
of course,
it's like a big brand that everybody instantly realizes, even if I self-distributed it, which I wouldn't have to do, and I just did something Steven Spielberg, everyone's going to want to see it, or a huge fan base of his would want to see it. So you know, but obviously the funding would be huge for the filmmaking process, because even right now I'm doing what I do best, making something out of nothing on a shoestring budget and pulling favors when I can and handshakes throughout, just doing it. Yeah.
All right, cool.
Yeah.
Well, I want to ask you a few questions, but I think we can wrap it up.
Cool.
So after this documentary is complete, what do you still hope to do in the entertainment industry?
Oh, I got huge hopes and dreams. I plan to make, I'd love to make like at least 50 feature films.
As a producer or director?
As a producer and director. At least as like a minimum. And I'd like to do all different genres of films, not just you know, shoot 'em up, bang bang mafia movies, or historical pieces, or I want to make love movies, supernatural movies. I got a whole assortment of ideas on certain things. And then when it's all said and done, I want to have my own talk show.
Really?
Yeah, where I get to bring on people in the entertainment business, like a late night show.
Oh, like Conan?
Yeah, like a Conan show or something. Where you bring on somebody and you say, hey, what's up, young buck? How you doing? Sit down, you know?
I can see that.
Yeah, it would be cool. Yeah, I think it would be. I think it's a fun way to end out your career. I'm talking like as an old man, you know, where I just, and somehow through my dealings of making movies and connections that I'll make, they'll be like, oh, Josh Weber wants to do his own show. Cool, give him his own show. You know, where it doesn't have to be the late night show. It'd just be some type of show that I'd be able to finagle and do, and I think it would be a lot of fun, because then at that point you can sit back after having a long career of your own, sit back and kind of meet the new young up and coming stars and talk jazz with them, and you know, and sit around, hang out. Yeah.
I have those 9 other projects on the back of your picture frame.
Yeah.
What are? Can you give us a couple?
One of them is called "Carry Me Home," which is a feature-length version of Batter Up, which is it's a story pretty much about a girl's struggle after she loses her mother and having to become the head of the household, and she uses softball to help her cope with certain things. That's probably my best pitch on it. There's also a film that a friend of mine wrote called Sons of Queens, which I think is probably one of the greatest scripts I've ever read in my entire life.
Wow.
Unfortunately, even from a low budget standpoint, it's a high budget action flick. But to me, it's not the action that makes the movie, it's the dialogue. It's the characters. They're so true, they're so real, it's so gritty. It's like a Tarantino-esque type of film. There's a scene in particularly in the film that it just got me. It was one of those scripts where you can't stop reading it. And the scene in particular that gave it's like a 7-minute scene, 7-8 pages, right? But it's just a guy sitting at the corner of a bed and another guy in the bed, and through the whole scene that at the end of the scene, that guy sitting at the edge of the bed is going to kill that guy in the bed. It's the dialogue within it. He brings out this knife. He talks about how the knife was from 1942. It's his grandfather's knife. He killed Nazis with this knife. It's the realness and the grittiness of the picture in general that really makes me want to make it.
Oh, man.
And so there's that, and then there's a few others on the list that are kind of, there's like a supernatural love story about a girl who falls in love with her grandmother's lost love and helps them reconnect, but they're all dead the whole time. It's a weird, jazzy movie that kind of came to me in a dream one time. There's a bunch of other ones.
Wow, very cool, man. Alright, so let me ask you this then. An unemployed actor is going to auditions and going to classes. An unemployed writer is working on their spec. What should an unemployed producer do?
What should an unemployed produce? Whatever they can, however which way. I would say short films, student films, do whatever they can, however they can, in regards to building connections and making things happen. Yeah, that's what I would say.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, cool, Josh.
Hell yeah.
Well, man,
Good to meet you. Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
That's it. You got it. Over and out, Bronco. Pow, pow.